there's only so much I can do. So I'm having to make some decisions about what I'm going to finish off, what I'm going to leave as half done and come back to at another time, and what I can keep working on in the lead up to the market. So I'm Sarah, I'm a self-taught artist from Melbourne. I work across multiple mediums, but I mainly work in watercolour, ink, and am increasingly using more and more pencil. I'm dabbling in digital, so that's something that I'm slowly upskilling. But yeah, since I'm self-taught, it's a slow process, but lots of fun. So along with the normal kind of market preparation that happens with a big market, I'm also trying to finish a collection that I've been working on for about the last month or so of a Zodiac collection. I'm not going to have a whole 12 illustrations with me at Makers and Shakers in a week and a half, but I will hopefully have at least a couple finished, and then I'll continue to work on that collection as much as possible and have that out soon. So I've been busy trying to finish as many of the Zodiac collection as possible, and also finish off any kind of half done illustrations or pieces that I wanted to have done for the market. Today is the final cutoff for what I'm going to order to get made into postcards. Due to the time constraints, and also just due to the nature of the type of illustration and artwork that I do, which is quite detailed and quite slow, there's only so much I can do. So I'm having to make some decisions about what I'm going to finish off, what I'm going to leave as half done and come back to at another time, and what I can keep working on in the lead up to the market. So the Zodiac collection, I decided since I wouldn't have the full 12, I'm not going to get them made into postcards. So that has meant that I'll be able to continue to work on that in the lead up to Makers and Shakers in a week and a half and beyond as well, and hopefully I'll have the full 12 illustrations. So postcards are a new product for me. I had them at my last Makers and Shakers market, but I only had 6 designs because I was trialing whether it was something that my customers were interested in, whether it was something that was cost effective and worthwhile for me to do, and whether my artwork translated well onto postcards. I had a lot of fun designing these postcards. So with the postcards that I designed, I uploaded high quality scans, and so the artwork came out very detailed and very well. Sorry, that was my elderly dog groaning. So I'm really happy with these because I know I love postcards from artists that I can't maybe afford their whole prints, or if I want multiple designs, I love to send them to people, and I love to have them on my walls as well as inspiration. So I'm really happy with how these came out. They held up really well, showing the detail of them, which I'm really happy with. Now what I did is I left the blank space, obviously, for you to write, places for you to put your stamp and the address, but I also put the name of the artwork, which I really like because I don't always have that in my prints very well displayed. So this is my Sunset Poppies. That's my elderly dog groaning. This is my Pink Moths, which is a very popular print, and I love making these into stickers too. So I love plants, I love flowers, I love moths as well, and drawing women, which is a new one. So the postcards actually ended up being quite a good product in the last couple of markets that I've had them in. They're very low cost for me to make as opposed to some of my other products. They're quite easy to transport, and people like them because they're lower cost as well. So they can buy a couple and it's not going to break their bank, which is wonderful. And so for my next lot of printed postcards, I'm going to be having, including my self-care collection and my goddess collection. So in the goddess collection at the moment there's only 2 illustrations, but there is more planned and more coming, and my self-care collection has 3 illustrations. So I have Pondering Big Decisions, Buy My Own Flowers, and my, oh, I don't know if I can show that, My Own Sacred Temple, which is a bit naked. But yeah, they're really fun. So yeah, we'll see. I'm really excited to see how these come up as postcards. I was really happy with the outcome of the other ones. So because I'm not going to be able to make my Zodiac collection all in time for them to be printed as postcards, what I'm doing is going to continue making them, and hopefully I'll have at least a couple with me at Makers and Shakers. But what I will be doing with them is I'll be making them into prints and stickers, which is things I make in-house in my studio here. And then that way I'll be able to kind of make them up to the weekend of the market. But yeah, for markets I do have stickers as well. Stickers are something I still make in-house, mainly because I have a lot of designs and I'm not really sure which ones sell really well or not, and I like the freedom of being able to make a new illustration and then turning it into a sticker. So with making it in my studio myself, it does mean that I don't need to worry about having a couple of weeks out, have it ordered, printed and coming out, but it does mean I still need time to make the product. So, and that does take time. So yeah, there's some of my little teapots. I'm really happy with how they come out though. Very, very, very cute. I don't know what it is about shrinking something down to, you can't really see the shimmer there. Shrinking it down, making it smaller, just makes it cuter, basically. So yeah, so I need to kind of make some decisions about how I'm going to display my stickers, how I'm going to sell them. I was making sticker packs just based on the illustrations, and they have actually sold quite well. So now I'm thinking of just grouping them into like teacups, teapots, flowers, plants, moths, and just kind of group them at like 6 in a pack and make them sticker grab bags basically. I think at a market like Makers and Shakers, which is very busy, there's a lot of people, people love stickers, they don't always have time to kind of stop and go through all of the single stickers. So yeah, that's how I'm kind of thinking that will work. It'll also obviously have a discount, so if you're buying 6 stickers versus if you're buying my 3 for $10 or something. Yeah. Okay, so this week I have been working hard trying to get as much done as possible, and what did I actually get finished? So as of right now, I have like a week and a half until Makers and Shakers. I have nearly finished my No More Shrinking Until I'm Palatable illustration. I'm really excited about that one. That's just something that came out in my journal, and I have also nearly finished the Gemini, but not quite. That one's still got a couple of layers more to go. So I do have a couple of finished pieces that are going to be nearly done, like my purple plants. That just has like one more leaf I think to do, which I should be able to finish tonight. So I have managed to do a big chunk of 3 of my Zodiac illustrations. I've nearly finished my purple flowers, I've nearly finished the No More Shrinking Until I'm Palatable, about halfway done in my Rest Sustains Me illustration, which is something I need to remind myself because I find it hard, very hard to rest. I am also hoping to get just a couple of smaller illustrations, originals to take with me. So I do have, obviously I have illustrations in my studio, so I'm going to go through ones that are already done, but then I'm also have in my mind a few kind of not as detailed or as complicated artworks that I'd like to do and bring them along. I actually sold my first original piece at a market a week ago at Kensington Market, and I had taken that piece to markets for the last year, and I had so many people come up and say how they loved it and wanted it as prints, but it was an A3 piece that was just not going to happen as a print. And then this woman came up a week and a half ago and was like, I love that piece, I think I need to have it. And she did not blink at the price because it was an original. It's obviously much higher than a print. And yeah, so that's a reminder to me to include some more originals as well, because some people have a different budget than what I do. And the reason I do prints and I do stickers and I do bookmarks is because that's how I often have to support other artists. But it's always good to have a couple of wow pieces that might not be in everyone's budget, but that might draw people over when you're setting up a stall. So there's a lot of things to think about. So I'm already thinking about my stall setup and how I want to change it from last time, things that have really worked for me in the last couple of markets that I've done, things that I haven't liked as much, and how I'm going to optimize space. Because at a market like this, at the exhibition building in Carlton, you are given about like 2 meters by 2 meters as my store space. Makers and Shakers tends to be a little bit more generous than other markets of a similar size. But yes, still you kind of have to work within the space you're given. So yeah, I'm already starting to think about my backdrop, whether I'm going to, or how I'm going to showcase some of my larger art prints, and how I don't want to waste any space. So really thinking about how to showcase everything in the best way without it being so busy that you lose sight of the things there. These types of markets have hundreds of stall holders there. You're walking around with thousands of people. It is quite overwhelming as a stall holder, let alone as a customer. And I've been to these markets as a customer, and there's stuff that like I've loved, or artists that I've gone specifically to see, and I couldn't find them when I actually went to the market as a customer, because there were so many people there. So it can be quite overwhelming. I think one of the things I've seen people do, other stall holders, is do like a walkthrough once they're set up from the front door. And I might try and do that for my social media, because I think that's a really great idea. Lets people know who are coming to see you, that where you are, where to find you. Hopefully I'm near the coffee place again, because that's always important. I think my teenage daughter is going to come and help me. She's great with things like that, and I'll pay her as well. So yeah, there's all these kind of things you kind of have to think about when you're doing a big market. So something I've been struggling with a little bit lately with my planning has been how much longer my artworks now take. Now that I'm using more and more pencil, I'm going more and more detailed, I'm adding more things into my illustrations. They're not as simple or as kind of one-dimensional maybe as they used to be. So that is just my style developing and my skill developing, which is all great. That's a great thing. I'm really happy with how things are developing. I feel like my creative voice is getting clearer. I'm really happy with when I look at my pieces all together, it's feeling more cohesive. But as a self-taught artist, I do wonder sometimes if I'm doing everything the hard way, the long way, which can be true, but also it means you can come up with stuff that people maybe wouldn't otherwise. So yeah, I'm using more pencil, and that is definitely a slower medium. One of the reasons I was using so much watercolor was during the pandemic. I was drawing a lot at home as like a mental health thing while my kids were really struggling and were doing like homeschooling and everything. And I lived in Melbourne. We had some of the longest lockdowns in the entire world for like 3 years. So it was a really hard time, and I didn't have a lot of time, I didn't have a lot of space, I didn't have a lot of energy for my creative practice. So I had to do things that could stay in an art journal, that I could only take up like a corner of the dining room table, that I could either leave set up or half set up, or I could set up very quickly. So things like easels, canvas, acrylics, all these things I've used in the past, it just kind of didn't really work. The great thing with watercolors is that it is so adaptable, and there's so many ways to do it. And the way that I use it with like pigment ink pens and pencil and gouache and other things, it really does mean that I can kind of just explore and go, oh, what kind of effect do I want? And then I can use all sorts of different things to get that effect. But yeah, it does mean that this whole thing is a bit slow at the moment, and yeah, so I'm just, with the planning, that is something I need to start taking into account a bit more, is that things take a lot longer when you're using pencil and you're adding more detail. And I'm always happy with the end result, is always worth that extra time. But in the middle of it, when I'm like, I have 11 more pieces to do, I do start to question whether it's the right thing. But yeah. A week and a half out now for Makers and Shakers. I'll do one more update probably next in like a week's time, just in the lead up. I'll see how I go. I might be able to fit in two, but I'm underestimating my time commitments as usual. So yeah, so I'm just trying to document all of that stuff and get used to posting on YouTube, because it's something that I really enjoy, watching other artists on YouTube. So yeah, exploring that is a different thing. So my focus for the next week really is to send off the orders for the postcards and possibly greeting cards, to start making up extra stickers, start printing out all the prints so I can package them all, start planning out my layout of my stall a lot more, and then in amongst that also finishing as many of my zodiac illustrations as possible, and hopefully having a few originals with me too. So yeah.